guys, it's Sam from DIY Huntress, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to add some curb appeal to your home by creating a custom herringbone address sign. Let's get started. You can find a full list of the products I used for this project as well as a step-by-step tutorial on my website by clicking on the link below this video. First step in this process is to cut off the end of the 1x8 board to square it up perfectly for the project. Next is to measure and cut your sign. My sign only has 3 numbers on it, so I made it 16 inches long. Next step is to take your 1x2 boards and cut them into 5-inch pieces. These are the pieces we will use for the herringbone. I decided to use a stop block here to make sure that everything was perfectly even. It felt like I was cutting out 1,000 pieces, but you're gonna get about 30 out of both boards. And while I cut out all these pieces, now is a great time to tell you that this project is sponsored by Handy Paint Products. After all of your pieces are cut, it's time to sand them down and prep them for stain. Make sure to sand down the large piece as well as every single 5-inch piece that you just cut. Yes, I mean it, every single 5-inch piece. Totally annoying, but trust me, it's worth it. After sanding, it's time to weatherproof all the pieces. You may want to keep a small container like this handy craft cup around just because the pieces are so tiny. Once that finish is poured, go ahead and paint every single piece that you just cut out with a sponge brush or a regular paintbrush. You are going to want to make sure that you do your darned best to weatherproof every side and nook and cranny of every single piece that you just cut on your miter saw. Because the address sign is going to be exposed to the elements, it's really important to make sure it's weatherproof so that it lasts long enough for you to pass it down to your grandkids and hopefully for your grandkids to pass it down to their kids. Once all of your pieces have dried, it's time to start laying out your design. Use a straight edge to find the center of your board and make sure to mark it clearly. Then use a speed square to create a 45-degree angle at the very far left of the piece. Once your lines have been made, begin to line up the 5-inch pieces with the template. Make sure that the first 2 pieces are pretty perfect because the rest of the design is going to depend on these 2. Once you're happy with the first 2, lay out the rest of the herringbone design in the same exact way. With the bulk of the design done, you can go ahead and glue and nail the pieces to the board. I decided to use a pin nailer to add all the pieces to the board just because I didn't love the idea of having larger holes in each of these pieces when they're so small. If you only have a brad nailer, you can use that instead. At this point, I was just being picky. Either one works just as well. Once your major herringbone pieces have been set in stone, it's time to fill in all those little annoying gaps that we left out in the beginning. Just go ahead and follow the design as best as you can and nail and glue those pieces down. Don't overthink it, just go with the flow. Once the design is done and the glue has dried, it's time to cut off all of that excess overhang with your miter saw. You may need to make a couple of passes here and there depending on how long the overhang is. Just be really patient with this process. After your pieces have been trimmed off, you're going to have to apply the weatherproofing to the exposed edges of the wood. Just apply it the same exact way that you did it earlier in the process. Now that the woodworking is done, it is time to apply the address numbers. Make sure to follow the directions and specific mounting instructions for the address numbers that you bought for your specific project. Last step is to then apply picture hanging hooks to the back and hang proudly at the front of the house. For more project ideas, please make sure to click that subscribe button and also visit my website at DIYhuntress.com. In the meantime, I hope you guys love this project as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching, and happy DIYing.